Hello everyone, welcome to the Atmanirbhar YouTube channel. Today's topic is some important environmental terminologies. Now, let's move on our topic. The first one is ecology. It was first coined by the German biologist Ernest Haeckel in 1869. The father of ecology in India, Ramdev Mishra. Mishra formulated the first postgraduate course in ecology in India. Due to his efforts, the Government of India established the National Committee for Environmental Planning and Coordination (1972). In later years, it paved the way for the establishment of Ministry of Environment and Forest (1984). The term ecology was derived from two Greek words, "oikos" meaning home and "logos" meaning study. Literally, it is the study of the home of nature. Ecology is a science that deals with the various principles which govern the relationship and interdependence between the organisms and their environment. It deals with the way in which organisms are molded by their environment, how they make use of environmental resources, including energy flow and mineral cycling. Ecology is basically concerned with six levels of biological organisms: first, species; second, population; third, communities; fourth, biomes; fifth, ecosystem; sixth, biosphere. The next one is ecosystem. The term ecosystem was coined by Sir Arthur Tansley, 1935. An ecosystem is defined as a structural and functional unit of biosphere consisting of community of living beings and the physical environment, both interacting and exchanging materials between them. It includes plants, trees, animals, fish, birds, microorganisms, water, soil, and people. An ecosystem can be of any size but usually encompasses specific and limited species. Example: aquatic ecosystem. That is how ecosystem is different from environment. It comprises abiotic and biotic components. First, abiotic components are the inorganic and non-living parts of the world. The abiotic parts consist of soil, water, air, and light, energy, etc. It also involves chemicals like oxygen, nitrogen, etc., and physical processes including volcanoes, earthquakes, floods, forest fire, climates, and weather conditions. Second, biotic components are producers, consumers, and decomposers. In the ecosystem, biotic and abiotic components are linked together through nutrient cycles and energy flows. Classification of natural ecosystem. First, terrestrial ecosystem like forests, grasslands, and deserts, etc. Second, aquatic ecosystem like ponds, lakes, wetlands, rivers, and estuaries, etc. Crop fields and an aquarium may also be considered as man-made ecosystem. Entire biosphere is regarded as a global ecosystem. Now, let's move on our next terminology, ecotone. Ecotone is a transition zone or zone of junction between two or more ecosystems. For example, mangrove forest, wetland, grassland, estuary, marshland, or riverbank, etc. Mangrove forests are ecotone between marine and terrestrial ecosystem. Wetlands are ecotone between aquatic and terrestrial ecosystem. Estuaries are ecotone between freshwater and saltwater. Grasslands are ecotone between forest and desert. Marshland or riverbank are ecotone between land and aquatic ecosystem. Characteristics and features of ecotone. It may be very narrow or quite wide. It has the conditions intermediate to the adjacent ecosystems, hence it is a zone of tension. It is linear as it shows progressive increase in species composition of one incoming communities and a simultaneous decrease in species of the other outgoing adjoining communities. A well-developed ecotones contain some organisms which are entirely different from that of the adjoining community. The next terminology is edge effect. Edge effect. It refers to the changes in population or community structures that occurs at the boundary of two habitats, that is ecotone. Sometimes the number of species and the population density of some of the species is much greater in this zone than either community. This is called edge effect. The species found in ecotone are called edge species, or we can say that the organisms which occur primarily or most abundantly in this zone are known as edge species. The next one is ecological niche. Niche refers to the unique functional role and position of a species in its habitats or ecosystem. It is a description of all the biological, physical, and chemical factors that a species needs to survive, stay healthy, and reproduce. The functional characteristics of a species in its habitat is referred to as niche in that common habitat. The next terminology is biosphere. The biosphere is the biological component that is supporting life of the earth, which includes the lithosphere, hydrosphere, and atmosphere. The biosphere includes all living organisms on earth together with the dead organic matter produced by them. The biosphere is absent at extremes of the north and south poles, the highest mountains, and the deepest oceans, since existing hostile conditions there do not support life. Life is the characteristic features of the biosphere. Occasionally, spores of fungi and bacteria do occur at a great height beyond 8,000 meters, but they are metabolically inactive and hence represents only dormant life. The next slide is habitat. Habitat. It is the physical environment in which an organism lives. For example, forest, ocean, river, etc. A habitat contains all the living and non-living things an organism needs. It fulfills the requirement of the organisms for its survival. Various species may have the same address. For example, ocean is habitat of whale, a seahorse, seal, phytoplankton, etc. Earth has four major habitats: terrestrial, freshwater, estuarine, ocean, etc. Let's move on. Next is in situ conservation or on site. In situ conservation or on site conservation of genetic resources is natural population of the plant or animal species. It aims to enable biodiversity to maintain itself within the context of the ecosystem. It involves the reduction of biotic pressure and rehabilitation. In India, ecologically unique and biodiversity-rich regions are legally protected as biosphere reserves, national parks, sanctuaries, reserve forest, protected forest, and nature reserves. India now has 18 biosphere reserves, 104 national parks, and 500 wildlife sanctuaries. Plantation, cultivation, grazing, felling trees, hunting, and poaching are prohibited in biosphere reserves, national parks, and sanctuaries. The next one is ex situ conservation or off situ conservation. Ex situ conservation. In this approach, threatened animals and plants are taken out from their natural habitat and placed in special setting where they can be protected and given special care. Zoological parks, botanical gardens, wildlife safaris parks, and seed banks serves this purpose. It involves the maintenance of genetic variation, that is, genetic conservation, away from its original location. It identifies and rehabilitates threatened species, launched augmentation, reintroduction, or introduction programs. There are many animals that have become extinct in the wild but continue to be maintained in zoological parks. For example, the Gangetic gharial has been reintroduced in the river of Uttar Pradesh, Madhya Pradesh, and Rajasthan, where it had become extinct. In recent years, access to conservation has advanced beyond keeping threatened species. The next terminology is keystone species. Keystone species is a species whose addition to or loss from an ecosystem leads to major changes in the occurrence of at least one other species. Certain species in an ecosystem is considered more important in determining the presence of many other species in that ecosystem. All top predators are tiger, lion, crocodile, elephants are considered as keystone species because they regulates all other animal population indirectly. Hence, top predators are given much consideration in conservation. If keystone species is lost, it will result in the degradation of the whole ecosystem. For example, certain plant species, that is ebony tree, Indian laurel, etc., exclusively depends upon bats for its pollination. If the bat's population is reduced, then regeneration of particular plants become more difficult. The next terminology is foundation species. Foundation species is a dominant primary producer in an ecosystem both in terms of abundance and influence. For example, kelp in kelp forest and coral in coral reefs. The last one is flagship species. A flagship species is a species chosen to represent an environmental cause, such as an ecosystem in need of conservation. These species are chosen for their vulnerability, attractiveness, or distinctiveness in order to engender supports and acknowledgement from the public at large. For example, Indian tiger, African elephant, giant panda of China, the leatherback sea turtle, etc. Thank you.